Hello guys, I'm nervous because this is going to be a very personal video, but I felt the need to record it and I hope it will be useful for many of you too. You know, during the last couple of months, maybe even years, I have been in the situations when I get acquainted with new people. And we have these really good conversations, literally about anything, the weather, the trip, I don't know, your work. And then, quite naturally, I will get a question. So, where are you from? And when I answer that I am from Ukraine, a country at war during this 3 years of unprovoked Russian aggression, I see that many people don't know how to react. They stop asking questions, not because they don't have any, but because they are polite, because they don't want to hurt me, or because they have never spoken with a person that lives in a country at war. Sometimes when we continue talking and people get more confident, they can actually tell me, wow, you look so normal. And I hope I am, because to some extent, after 3 years of the full-scale war, you get used to that. It is not normal, but at the same time, to be able to survive, you adjust, you adapt to very many very unusual things. And you know, since recently, the world has become very chaotic. And many of you are afraid of potentially new conflicts and wars in every corner of the world. And I feel the need to share with you my civilian experience of what is life during the times of big war. What are the greatest dangers and challenges, but at the same time, what helps us live and have fun and continue working, and we drink coffee and we still dream about many things, because this can help you calm down or provide you with some necessary survival skills in case of need. Though I don't wish any one of you this. But once again, with my Ukrainian experience, I believe it is much better to be prepared than not. Some of you maybe follow my big channel, Anna from Ukraine, which I started after the beginning of the full-scale invasion. It was more of a therapeutic channel at the beginning, but later I started sharing news from Ukraine. I still feel that people don't know enough about my part of the world, about Ukraine, about our enemy, Russia, and I feel the need to explain these things on that channel. But now I have also got a feeling that people do not fully understand what is war. And how do you continue living if your country goes through this very bad but very historic time. So this channel will be more personal, and I will simply share the things that I consider important, consider different, and the things you may not feel comfortable asking. So here I am, an ordinary Ukrainian living in very extraordinary times. And on my other channel, I have asked the subscribers what are the things you would like to know first about my wartime experience. And the question that got most of support was, what are the things that changed tremendously since the start of the full-scale war for a civilian? And you know, I have like 100 things to name you, and I don't think I will be able to compress it all in one video. So I will ask you to leave ideas and questions in your comments below. I will be happy to share with you the things that are of interest to you. But I will start with the things that changed and were perhaps most striking, most important, and mainly most of them are very personal, and these are attitudes. So one of the first things that you realize when your life is in danger just because you are a Ukrainian or any other nationality, and your enemy targets your cities with missiles that are not very good at targeting things, and they literally destroy anything, so you are nowhere safe, and you have to run in a bomb shelter. You don't know how to do it, you don't know where the shelters are, everything is very new. But from the very beginning of the full-scale invasion, every Ukrainian will confirm that we got this feeling that actually you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot. Many people who survived the bombings, who survived the destruction of their house, were happy to learn that their loved ones are safe and sound, that their cat survived. And I have a lot of friends who had to relocate, and they had like documents, some photos, 2 sweaters with them, and they were very happy. Mobile phone, your computer. So all of the things that you have in your house, all of the things that you collect, all of the things that you buy, you don't need them immediately. You just want to know, there was a list of things that I put down, you just want to know that your relatives are okay, that you can speak with them, that you know where they are, and you don't need a lot. You care about the clothes to be warm, because in our case it was end of February, it is still a season of very cold weather here in Ukraine, and all you care about is this comfort, and so that you're not cold in a bomb shelter, because the majority of bomb shelters are really cold. These are cellars, these are parking lots, and they were not prepared for hosting people, children, and so on. So I do remember walking, wearing one hoodie, I guess like for a month. Of course, I would wash it, but I literally did not want to change. I felt comfortable in it. It was just like my safe environment. And actually since then, guys, I always feel very, very comfortable in hoodies. They give me this feeling of security. That is another crazy thing that many people report when they don't have time to hide. After 3 years of the full-scale war, you do not always run to a bomb shelter at night. You get used to that. It's a mistake, it's bad, but it is what happens. And many people say that they simply hide under the kilt, in their hoodie, at home, and they think they are safe. Of course, it's a trick of our consciousness, and perhaps some of such people hidden under the kilts or in hoodies, including children, were killed by Russians. But this is how our brain works. And I do remember a lot of people reporting like, we literally don't need all of that clothes, we just need a good pair of jeans, a hoodie, anything to keep you warm, and that's it. And I also did not put my makeup on. Those of you who follow my channel, Anna from Ukraine, subscribe. You might have noticed that at the very beginning I did not put any makeup on, and I actually thought I will stay that way until the victory, but like after 3 years, you see, I have started wearing makeup. But Zelensky is still not wearing a suit, and we support him here. Another thing that may be funny, we were sleeping in clothes too, because Russians often shell during night when people are super vulnerable. And once again, we've got used to many things. I live in the western part of Ukraine. I did not relocate, so we are not that often targeted. But at the very beginning of war, we were super frightened. And I remember sleeping in my jeans, in my hoodie. So when I hear an air raid alarm, I can run directly into a shelter. In my case, it was a basement of my house. But later, I realized that it has a window. So actually, it does not work as a shelter. But during these 2 weeks, we were hiding there with water, with some chocolate. And at night, it's really difficult because you're sleepy, you are more nervous, you're very vulnerable. I also wear contact lens and I had to take them with me because it's kind of frightening. It's cold, it's dark, it's air raid alert, and you don't see well. So it was funny to sleep in all those hoodies. We were sleeping dressed up. And another thing that was of the greatest importance for everyone is to have the connection, mobile or internet connection. We've learned about the start of the invasion from the news. It did not seem possible, trust me. So many of you, when thinking about the future dangers, your normalcy bias will prevent you from preparing properly, because back in 2022, it seemed totally absurd that the full-scale war can start in the center of Europe with no reason for that. No one, including our military, could imagine aviation bombing Ukrainian cities. And that is exactly how it started. And people began phoning each other, making calls to each other early in the morning. And we were waiting for the mobile connection and internet to fall. Russians tried to do that in any occupied area to prevent people from learning the news about the capital, about other cities, about their families, so that they can frighten and manipulate, disinform people, make them surrender, And I remember we were very much afraid that mobile connection will fall and internet will fall, but it did not happen, luckily. Perhaps these networks are really well protected. Later, when the blackout started, we had problems because of electricity is needed for mobile towers and other stuff, but it did not happen at the very beginning of the invasion. And I remember people calling each other, sending each other messages, just how are you? And this was no formal message. This was such an important message coming from people. What was also surprising and unusual is that sometimes you will receive messages from the people you did not expect to contact you at all. I don't know, your former girlfriend, or your very distant relative, or a colleague from Spain. And sometimes people who were really close to you, with whom you worked in one office, would not ask anything and, I don't know, flee the country. And you will learn about that a week later. So it was this time of messages, how are you? And they were very meaningful. And it was also very challenging for the relationships of people, because you are very stressed. A lot of people quarreled, a lot of people offended each other. Well, because when you see Russian helicopters flying above your building, it's not always bringing the best qualities of you. But at the same time, people did a lot of heroic stuff. And what surprised me when I went out on the next day, in the morning after the start of the invasion, there were a lot of queues to the supermarkets, to the pharmacies. People wanted to have some supply of the things. and people were very polite to each other. Not trying to buy out everything. So when I wanted to buy something similar than people in front of me, they cared not to take everything. For example, I don't know, they wanted 4 loaves of bread, but they would take 2, leaving 2 for me. It was this magical feeling of unity that made me cry on the streets of my city, because it also brought one very emotional thing, the understanding that you can be killed any moment just because you are Ukrainian. They don't care whether you are young or old, smart or dumb, beautiful or ugly, rich or poor, a writer or, I don't know, a policeman. They target densely populated districts to destroy the country and to destroy the people. And I guess this understanding, Ukrainians were never that concerned about, I'm Ukrainian, you know. But at that moment, we've realized that all of us are targets just because we are citizens of this beautiful country. And that made us support each other stronger. And that is very valuable, and that is that miracle that breaks a lot of evil plans against us. And, there are a million things that I can share with you, starting from what is it like, an air raid alert, a bomb shelter, what do I have in my go-to bag, do I have one now, I don't know, blackouts, anything that is interesting. Let me know in the comments below. What would you like to hear more about? And subscribe to this channel. I feel it will be different than my main one, but I also feel the need to explain the war. Just as I felt the need to explain my country, now I feel the need to explain the war. Because the world right now is very, very turbulent. A lot of bad people are saying bad words and bad messages. It's not okay to question the independence of Greenland or the independence of Canada. It's not okay. It's not okay to forgive Russia for the violation of all international laws and borders, because this can bring a lot of precedents and lead to a greater war. And I'm sure you don't want that. I don't want that. And hopefully this will be just the stories of an ordinary Ukrainian living in the very extraordinary times in a history book, as we often say here. So please subscribe and share these videos on your social media platforms. Follow me on X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. I will leave all the comments in the description of this video. And thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons, and supporting this new experimental channel of mine. Thank you so much. Slava Ukraini!